Okay. We're just about ready to get started. Okay. Okay. Well, hey everybody, tonight is what is tonight? November the 8th, 2020. And you guys get to order your brand new, all the new winter products in 2 days. On Tuesday, you get to order the new products. That's the 10th. So mark your calendar if you did the preferred customer program. So we talked about those last week. If you weren't on last week, you might want to go back, and I showed all the new products. And I think you're going to really like them. Some of the stuff you could already order, but we'll have some new things to sell for sure. So that's November the 10th. And just remember, anything that's limited edition, you want to at least order that right this second, because that's the stuff that, like, by the end of the month will be gone. And part of it, they usually like estimate about how much they're going to need as far as Mary Kay in inventory and products. And then sometimes we sell out anyway. But then right now, they're having a big problem with like boxes, bottles, and lids. Not because of them. I mean, we make the products, so we can make the products, but you have to have something to put it in. And so that's why we've had some out of stock and some things like that. And Mary Kay is just doing the very best they can. So I would suggest, like, for Christmas, really look at regular line products as well to make some of your baskets and your things, so that you will know that you could get them. And sell early. Don't wait till the last second. So first of all, before we get started today, I wanted to ask everybody, tonight, for some reason, I just felt like it is midnight. I honestly feel like it's midnight to do this call. I'm like, it's another hour, and I already know. I'm not even looking at Sayla because I already know she's like, she's probably about to fall out because she gets up so early. So I was going to take a little poll with you guys that are on live. And if you will, in the comments, in the chat, I want you to vote. Number one, you'd like to keep it the same time as it is. Or number two, you'd like to start an hour earlier in your time zone. Like in Eastern, it would be, instead of starting at 9, it'd be starting at 8 o'clock. Okay. And then Central, instead of starting at 8, it'd start at 7. So if you guys will all just vote, 1, to keep it the same, 2, to make it an hour earlier. Okay. And then at the end of the call, well, I don't even have to wait till the end of the call. Everybody says earlier. It's just this time change, and it just feels so late. And so I was thinking also, sometimes you kind of get fired up after the calls. I mean, I get tired, but then after the call, I'm awake. And so if it was an hour earlier, I might even could call some people or text some people or, message some people on Facebook that were up. So it may be helpful when you're motivated to actually have another hour, or you can go to bed if you're tired. So, okay. So we'll spread the word. And so all my YouTube listeners, just know it'll be an hour earlier starting next Sunday night, an hour earlier. So just, if you have, like for me, I have it in my calendar, which, it's kind of funny because if you're the one doing the call, you don't have to put a reminder because you're doing the call. But for y'all, but for other calls, I always just have a reminder in my phone. So you just go ahead and change it tonight and change it to the right time, and that way you won't forget. But believe me, I won't forget. So good. I'm glad everybody is good with that. So perfect. All right. I went over a little training class that I did on Tuesday. There was some top directors that are senior sales directors, and we reached out to some nationals, and we wanted some help on being a better senior sales director. And so I joined this little thing, and I listened to Jan Thetford this last week, and she talked about just different ways as a senior director you could be a better senior director and a better leader to your offspring directors, and also having some great conversations coming up so that the women that are moving up in your organization have a clear understanding of some things before they even become a sales director. And I had this class, I did a little thing with my sales directors earlier in the week, and a couple of extra gals. And so this is a little repeat to you, but I thought, and we all decided, that not this is not only good questions that you can ask yourself. I'm going to do 8 questions that you can ask yourself. It's not only good for someone that's ready to go into DIQ, it's also great for someone that's starting a Mary Kay business, even on a smaller scale. And so we were thinking this could be something you could even ask a brand new consultant when they join, after they have, maybe they say, hey, I need to make, let's just say it's $1,000. I really need to make at least $1,000 a month with me, a profit, $1,000. Or you have a goal of, I really would like to get in my red jacket, or I would like to win a car with Mary Kay, or I would like to become a sales director with Mary Kay, or earn the use of a free car. Okay. So I want you to write these questions down. And this is one of these things that you have to ask yourself. And then you can, in your mind, think, okay, am I prepared to get like a different result? There's going to be some different things I'm going to have to do. So I want you to just kind of think of these things, you guys. And I know that when she told me, not only was I thinking of up and coming DIQs, but I was thinking about myself and how would I answer this today? Okay. So these are some of the questions that I want you to write down, and it's just 8. And I think you'll really like it. Okay. And it's some things that you can even think about to talk to your team members about. Okay. So number one, okay. Am I willing to be inconvenienced? Am I willing to be inconvenienced? And when you start Mary Kay, you already have a life. You probably work another job, or if not, you may be a full-time mother, or you may be retired, and you have other responsibilities, but you have things to do. There's not many people that sign up to sell Mary Kay that have nothing to do. Like they were sitting around the house just watching TV all day long. I mean, occasionally you'll find a lady like that, but most of the time it's people that have a full life. They've got family, they've got grandkids, they've got children, they've got school, they've got work. And so they already have some stuff. So when you take on something new, you have to think about, am I willing to be inconvenienced? And think about what would be an inconvenience in your life right now. So let's say that you have little children and now you want to go and do some Mary Kay parties in the evenings. So do you have some childcare that you could get to help you with your children? Maybe if you are moving up to sales director, let's say you're a DIQ, and where we can start having live meetings again. Most all directors have live meetings again, and even if it's not live, like right now they're virtual for a lot of people, but it is a consistent thing that every week you do it, because we have found, and Mary Kay's always found, that you need at least weekly encouragement. And if you've had a great week, you need a little bit of recognition. And if your week is stunk, you need a little bit of encouragement to say, okay, because you don't want to wait like a whole month because you could be quit by then, right? So we need weekly, consistent encouragement. So as someone moving up, something that could be inconvenient was that maybe you had to miss a little something with your family or friends to go to a sales meeting, to go do your Mary Kay sales meeting. Maybe you have to ask your husband to help you a little bit more, around your house and with your children. And so these are some things that, one of the things Jan Thetford said when she taught the class, she said, vision, I really like this. She said, vision is something you're willing to rearrange your life for. So if you have a vision of something for your Mary Kay business, and it could be a dollar amount, like you really want to make enough to be able to put a down payment on a new home, to have a vacation for your kids, to maybe have your husband where he could quit his job and he could do something else and start a new business or something like that. Like if you have a vision, you're willing to rearrange other things to be able to do it. And anything that you add on, you have to be willing to rearrange other things. For example, Brad and I joined the golf club here, the country club here, in August. And I thought, because I'm not traveling as much and I really like to play golf, and I just stopped and I thought this might be a way to make some new friends and give Brad and I something to do together that we like to do, and it's fun. So, but then they said, okay, they have couples golf, and it was on Thursday nights, so I'm like, okay, no. So how can I rearrange? Okay, how can I rearrange what I'm doing to be able to play on Thursday nights? Or today they had couples golf. It was at 2:00. Well, I really do like to take a nap on Sunday, but I rearranged that and I thought instead of taking a nap, I actually exercise and I actually feel less tired. But whatever you decide to add, you have to think something has to be taken away, right? So you can do something different. So you want to think about that. And the other thing is she taught us to really teach our people that because you're self-employed, your work is never done. Okay, like you could work, you could get up in the morning and start your Mary Kay and text and call people and there's all time zones. You could actually go through all through dinner, lunch, and never put down your phone and never take a break. And so you have to teach yourself when you're going to stop working for the day and what your hours are. And then you don't feel guilty because you pre-decided what you're doing. You know, I know that I usually do not work on Sundays until the boss babe call. Like I usually just don't. I go to church and I usually take a nap. I need it. Or like play golf or something like that. I don't feel guilty that I didn't do a party on Sunday because I have other days of the week that I do that. So you have to kind of get your schedule right. But guess what? If it was the last day of the month and I was like fixing to win a pink Cadillac and I was short $10,000, I'd still go to church, but I'd be on the phone calling people on a Sunday, or a Saturday or whatever. So I am willing to rearrange stuff. Okay. Okay. Number 2, are you ready to be accountable in your paperwork and in your word? And one of the things that, in this business, really all you have is your word. So if you say you're going to be somewhere or do something, then you have to be a woman of your word. And I know all of you are on here tonight, but there's nothing worse than doing something with someone that says, yeah, I'll be there. And then they're not there. And the first time you're like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. The second time you're like, didn't you miss it last time? And the third time, it don't matter if they say, yes, they're going to be there or no, they're not going to be there because they're not a woman of their word anymore in your mind because they just you can't really trust what they say. So their word is not their bond. So with you, with your Mary Kay, as you're wanting to move up in the company or do more, whatever you say, you need to do. So if you say, I'll be on that call or I'll be at that sales meeting or I'm going to get on the phone tomorrow, make 10 calls. Whatever you say, that's your word. So you want to watch your words and then whatever you say, and then your paperwork, the things that you have to turn in, the things you want to keep track of, are you willing to do that and be accountable? Okay, number 3, and let me say, be accountable would be accountable to your sales director. If you're a sales director, it would be accountable to your senior director or to your national or to a mentor. And it makes a difference. I've been doing this call with one of my mentors, Don Alton Sweeney, and we do it once a week, and it's a leadership call, and it's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And so we've been doing it for over 21 weeks, probably 24 weeks, every single week at 1:00 on Tuesdays. And it's a 1 to 2 hour commitment. Okay. And one of the things I do is number 1 is I make sure I get on the call. And number 2, I make sure I do my homework. And what the homework is to read the chapter and fill out the whole workbook. So it's not something that I just take lightly. I'll just jump on there and go, yeah, I didn't have time to read it. I would never do that. Why? Because I made a commitment to do this training. Number 2 is I respect her too much to get on there and not have done what I'm supposed to do. And so I want y'all to think about that. Okay. Number 3, are you willing in this season of your life to work your business consistently? And consistently is up to what you feel like is consistent in your life. Not 24/7. That's not what I'm talking about. But sometimes maybe if you have a full-time job, you might say, okay, well, when I started, I thought when I had a full-time job, I said, all right, this is what I'm going to commit to. Because I wanted to just, I was married and I like to have fun and do other things too. So I said, okay, every Monday night I'll go to my meeting. And every Tuesday and Thursday, I will do a party. And then I'll do one party on the weekend. Either Friday, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. If I can't get it done and then I do it Sunday afternoon. So I would do my meeting. And I do a party on Tuesday and Thursday nights because I went to church on Wednesday night, and then one party on the weekend. That was my goal every single week, and to be consistent. And I think some of you have been on the call where I pulled up my date book my first year, and I really did do that. Every week, I had 2 to 3 parties. Now sometimes, I only had 2 or 1 because something canceled. And I learned to book more than I needed. So one of the things that Jan talked about is the value of 10 contacts a day and 10 appointments a week. and 30 faces a month. And so 10 appointments could be a sharing appointment, or a selling appointment, either one. And that 10 contacts a day, 10 appointments a week, and 30 faces a month is minimum for someone who's wanting to move up. So she would talk with her gals. It's like if they said, well, I'm just frustrated because I just feel like I'm working, and nothing's happened. So she would ask them, how many people are you contacting a day? How many appointments did you have last week? How many faces did you do last month? And if it's not at least that much, she said, well, let's do that first with target market people. And then if that doesn't work, call me back. She was really big on doing the bubble sheet, which we have talked about the bubble sheet, haven't we? 2 different times. So everybody knows what the bubble sheet is. And, it's those 56, 57 bubbles on a sheet. And I think she said 57, but I was thinking it's 56. But either way, y'all know whichever one it is. And that 57 attempts leads to 10 yeses on that sheet. 57 attempts to get a booking or an appointment leads to 10 yeses. And so, those are the things that would be like the accountability in the paperwork. Are you doing your bubble sheet? So anytime somebody's got frustrated with their business, she'd go back and say, okay, remember we talked about this? How about that bubble sheet? Are you working on that? How many contacts have you really made? So I thought that was really, really good. Number 4 is my family on board? Is my family on board? And so, if every time you make a move to really move up in Mary Kay, your family is against you and complaining and making you miserable every time you're trying to do some Mary Kay, it's something to really think about. You really need to get your family on board because first of all, it's way more fun. When your family's on board and you win, the whole family wins, right? And you've seen that with little girls and little boys get so excited about their mom who won a car, became a sales director. The husband is so proud, But if they're against you, 100%, that's something you're going to have to work on, And we in Mary Kay, we directors are not counselors. We can't counsel you on that. But, you're going to have to work on your family. And because it's hard to go against the people in your life that you love. And usually, family wins, not Mary Kay. And I mean, that's how it should be, right? So really think about that and see, how can I get my family on board? And most of the time with husbands, you can start without them being on board, but to keep them on board, if you bring home money, they will be on board. I haven't found a husband yet that when their wife is bringing home a few $100s every single week and say, here, honey, here, honey, here, honey, that don't love their Mary Kay business. I mean, my husband, he would never complain about me doing Mary Kay, ever, ever. And he never, ever has, because he knows I make money and we need money to pay our bills, right? So money talks on that. Number 5, do I understand the value of the weekly meetings, the quarterly events, seminar, career conference, leadership conference, fall advance, January Jumpstart? Do I understand the value of all those different events? Because Mary Kay Ash did. She set them up that way. She knew how to keep women motivated and keep them engaged. And the reason we had those events during the year is to keep us going. And even though we're having to do it virtual this year, they didn't cancel it. Like they didn't go, okay, we're just not going to have it. We're just going to send y'all the prize. They knew that even if it wasn't in person, that we need it, and they know they better get back to it, right, as soon as they can. Because Mary Kay people, we need that motivation. Like some of us work more for, recognition than we do for money, and it just gives you that sense of sisterhood, and it really is what makes us different in Mary Kay. So, do you understand the value of that, and can you commit to these events? And you can ask anybody in Mary Kay that's been successful. They're the ones that go to things. You won't find very many women that have never been to anything. They just live in their own little world that have been very successful in Mary Kay in the long run. Number 6 is, can you handle being told no? That is a big one, I think, because don't y'all believe that the reason why we don't ask enough is because we don't want to hear the word no. Like if I said, hey, here's a list of 30 people. We've already scanned them. They're all going to say yes. You just need to call them and get the appointments booked, because they all want to do it. So just, do you mind go ahead and calling them? Well, isn't that pretty easy? Let's just call them all and get the appointments booked. If we thought they all were going to say yes, wouldn't we just, it wouldn't be a big deal to call them. What's the big deal? It's because they might say no. And we don't like no. We don't like no. So you got to think about that, about being willing to, if somebody says no, being willing to pivot, and how you feel about it when somebody tells you no. And, you know, Mary Kay Ash used to say, take the word no, flip it around. It says on. She says, and that just means either go on, tell her some more, or move on to the next person. That's it. She said, you know, it's not like, they don't usually say, I hate you, I hate Mary Kay, don't ever call me again. I mean, usually what do women say when they say no? Well, first of all, they sometimes just don't answer you at all, right? Okay, second of all, if they say no, they go, you know what? I'm just really not interested right now. That's a nice way to say it. Or I'm really just too busy right now. Call me later. Most women are kind. They are. Most women are nice. And they're not going to spit at you, stomp at your feet, and, you know, slander you if you ask them for, if they'd like to have a free facial, right? So we have to think about those no's and go, okay. And just like, you know, those ones where you try to get 100 no's, so, or 10 no's in a row. So then you don't even care if it's a no because you're kind of getting closer to your goal, right? And one of the things that you want to do is learn how to keep people in your life. So when you are talking to someone about like selling Mary Kay, recruiting, you want to also say, I would love to have you on my team. I mean, it would be so fun to work with you and do life together. We could both, you know, go on all these trips and all this. Say, however, if it doesn't work out for you, for any reason after you try it, it's not for you, or maybe you just decide not to do it, I still would love to have you for my customer for life. Because honestly, I want you in my life one way or the other, either on my team or as one of my special customers. Because one of the things that we do sometimes is we talk to someone about selling Mary Kay, they say no, and we don't have anything. We don't have her even as a customer, right? It's like, one and done, you're done. So make sure anybody that you interview, if it's someone you're interviewing that you've never facialed, then say, hey, well, that's okay. Let's just do a facial. I know you love the products and I'd love to have you as a customer, because a lot of times then the more they use the product, they might come back and think about selling Mary Kay with you. So just kind of remember that. Then number 7 is, are you willing to work with all kinds of people, different kind of people, like different than you, with people that make way more money than you, and people that make way less money than you, people that have different education than you, more or less, people with different beliefs, people with different races and different backgrounds. You know, are you willing to have a bigger circle? Because when you lead, you're not going to have cookie cutter you in your whole team. You know, you're going to have different people. And, you know, we, the directors that were talking about this, is we said, we know that once you become a sales director, most every single one of us could walk into any kind of meeting and there would be people that were very diverse in income, education, beliefs, and race. And we would be able to get along, because guess what? We have learned in our Mary Kay business to work with a lot of different people. At first, on your team and in your customers, everybody's going to be about your age. They're going to be about like you. But then as you start booking and people invite their friends, you're going to get different people, right? And so you want to be able to adjust with that. So that's something you need to think about. And then number 8, this is the biggest one. And honestly, if this one is a no, then you probably are not ready to make a commitment to move up in Mary Kay. Okay? So this is it. Are you willing to hold parties? Are you willing to hold parties? If you say, no, I don't really want to hold parties. I've had someone tell me that. They said, I'd like to sign up, but I want to do this parties. I said, well, you can sign up. I said, you know, parties are the way to get customers. You can sell a ton more product. And, you know, when you have a party, because it's just letting them try the products, you know. And if they say, well, I'm just going to do one-on-ones. Well, you can get there doing one-on-ones. You absolutely can. It's just going to take you a lot more time, because obviously I could do an hour party and have 6 people there, and you could do an hour facial, you know. So I'm getting 6 people. 6 people are giving me referrals. I have 6 opportunities to get another booking right there, and 6 opportunities to get a recruit, and you have 1, right? But if you really want to move up, you have to be willing to do parties. I mean, Most of us, when we signed up to sell Mary Kay, we knew we were going to do parties. We probably had seen a party and we're like, yeah, I got to book some parties. I mean, that's what we do. Can you imagine people that sell other products and they don't, like a Tupperware lady came in and said, yeah, I want to sell Tupperware. No, I'm not going to have none of those parties. What are you doing, right? Well, you would never think that. So in Mary Kay, same thing. You have to be willing to do some parties. And so I want to just say that as you're moving up in Mary Kay, as I move up in Mary Kay, as our directors move up in Mary Kay, you are going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to do some things and you're going to be like, that was an epic fail. But Mary Kay Ash used to say, you fail forward to success. So every time you fall, you fail forward, you don't fall backwards. Okay. And, if you've ever fell downstairs or, and you're falling forward, a lot of times you can catch yourself. But when you fall backwards, it's hard to catch yourself. You are going to bust it. I've done both, right? So when you fall forward to success, you take responsibility for the mistakes that you made or the things that did not go successful. If you fall backwards, you are blaming other people. You're blaming your director. You blame your recruiter. You blame your national. And if Mary Kay was alive, you blame her too, right? And we've all seen that. We've seen women that they do not take responsibility about their business and other things in life too. They are always blaming instead of taking responsibility. And I can look back on different times in my life that I've been less successful. And I can say, well, I know exactly why. Because my time did not match up to my goals, the time I spent on it. I said I wanted this, but my time, did not equal to my big goal. And I was thinking today, when I was thinking about what to say tonight, I thought, what if your Mary Kay money was absolutely the only money you had? Like there was no other money for you. There was no husband, no child support, no parent. That was 100%. If you had any money that was going to go in your pocket to pay your bills and support your life and your family, if it was your Mary Kay business, how would you work it? Would you work it different? You really probably would not get up and go, I don't know if I feel like doing this today. No, because you want to eat. And so I want to tell you, there was times in my life that I was single and I did not have any of that. I didn't have children, so I had no alimony, no child support, no alimony. I was not married, and I was way too old to be like making my mom and dad pay my bills. And so the only way I could get my house payment made and my utility bill paid and pay my bills and eat and look cute and go do the things I wanted to do is to work my Mary Kay business. And so sometimes you get a little, I say fat and happy, and you really don't need the Mary Kay money. You really don't have that big thing. So you slack, So really, if you're really wanting to go for it, then you got to think, okay, why don't I just pretend? Or that's why Mary Kay always said you got to have a why. So the women that, let's say your husband has a great job, or you have another job and your Mary Kay money is kind of for your fun, you got to have that why. What do you need that Mary Kay money for? And if you don't need it at all, who could you give it to? Who could you bless with your Mary Kay money that would make a difference in your life or someone else's? So you really want to think about that. And then the last thing I want to say was two things. One is that Mary Kay is not a social media company. We are a relationship company. So social media is an accessory to our business, but it is not our business. Like it is still about building relationships. And, I saw a post from a national, Kristen Sharp, that had been working in Canada. And she just got her first director out in Canada. And she has never met this woman in person because of COVID. She's never met her in person. But they've done Zooms and, FaceTimes and, all that. And now she is a brand new sales director in Kristen's area from Canada. But she still was able to develop a relationship with this woman through what we're doing right now. And so you can still develop relationships. And that's why if you're doing Facebook parties, you have to still get names and numbers and later call them on the phone, do a FaceTime, like especially if it's people you don't know, because, it's hard to build a relationship when you're the only one talking. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like you have to make an effort for that follow up on those Facebook parties to really still build the relationships like that. And then the last thing I will say is that people give up in Mary Kay because of one of two reasons they give up or they don't make it. Okay. Number one is because they're not skilled. They did not take the time to learn what to do or learn by doing. None of us knew what we were doing when we started. You know, the only reason I'm good at doing parties is because I've done a blessed million of them. I mean, I did, my first 4 weeks in the business, I did 12 to 15 parties. And by then, like the second month, I knew how to do a party. I'd done so many. The first one, I stunk. I mean, I thought, well, that wasn't that great. And I thought, can you even do this? But then the next one was better, and then the next one was better, and I just say, just like my golf swing today, when I first started today, I just was not playing good. But by the 7th hole, I'm like, I should probably quit Mary Kay and be on the LPGA because I was hitting so good. But had I quit on those first 3 or 4 holes, I'd have gone home kind of depressed. But I just thought, okay, shake it off. Let's get up there and let's just hit the ball. And so anytime you play sports, you're going to screw up. But if you keep going, you do start improving. So one is you're not skilled. And then the second one is that you're not ready or you're not willing. You're not ready or you're not willing. Whichever one makes you feel better. Really, it's because you're not willing. But if you want to say you're just not ready yet, that's okay. It's a little tiny bit of a cop out. But it's either you're not skilled or you're not willing. Because Mary Kay, you can learn how to do this, right? And if you can learn how and you're willing to do the work, you will be successful. That's all there is to it, So I just wanted to share that with y'all. And then, as you're thinking about your Mary Kay business and you're wanting to move up and you're wanting to do a little more, or you want to have a little goal, think about these little things and say, okay, of those 8 questions, which one did I go, And then that's something that maybe you want to think about. And, if you think about something for 2 months, your brain starts being accountable to that's what you get used to, And so you can make new habits for yourself and for your business, and it will really help you be very successful. So I hope this has helped y'all a little bit tonight. And we'll just let anyone that would like, for the sales directors, if you guys want to just pop in here, just whoever wants to. And if you don't have anything to say, that's fine too. So I'm going to remove my spotlight, and then you guys can just pop in here. Anything else you'd like to say to the group?
It's Jana. And I can't wait to talk because you did such an amazing job. This is so fabulous. Like, this is extraordinary. This is so meat and potatoes. This is exactly what I needed. Not to mention being in a pink bubble for this amount of time has been beautiful. I don't know about y'all, but I mean, this is amazing. Okay. So something that I was thinking about is that when you were talking about, are you ready to be accountable in your paperwork and your word? Weekly accomplishment sheets and bubble sheets. I jotted that down. And then you talked about bubble sheets. And I love that because you guys, like, I have my green folder. This is my personal business folder. And I know that like when I see this cheap little folder, that triggers, it's time to do my personal work. And so I love it. Look, bubble sheet after bubble sheet after bubble sheet after bubble sheet in here. And it has turned my personal business on fire. And so it is so exciting. So, and this is the thing, when you're using a bubble sheet, and if you'll use one bubble sheet a week, if you want to be disciplined to at least doing that, obviously she said you're going to get 10 appointments from that. But another thing you're going to get is a selective memory. You're not going to remember who said no, because she talked about, sometimes we don't like to hear no. Well, if you are calling enough people, you're not dwelling on who's not calling you back. Okay. So just get out there, dial enough people. And sometimes I have people say, oh my gosh, I forgot to get back with you. I'm really sorry. And I'm thinking in my mind, did I call her? Because you know what? When you're calling at 50, 56, 112 people a week or even more, you don't remember that. And so it takes the emotion out of it. Numbers take the emotion out of it. So go for it. Cleta, thank you so much for this training. This was amazing. I loved it.
Hey, and I'm glad you said that because I actually highlighted and I didn't tell you, but one of the things Jan said is that she's always kept her paperwork really, really simple. She uses 4 sheets for her people, and it is the bubble sheet, the layering sheet for recruiting, which we have talked about that, the weekly accomplishment sheet, and the weekly plan sheet. And if you don't have a weekly accomplishment sheet or a weekly plan sheet, you can just go to InTouch, you go under search, and you type it in weekly accomplishment sheet, and there comes up one you can print out. You can also do it online, and then there's weekly plan sheet, and that's the hourly, the day, and you can do that as well, or for the week. And so, but it goes by the hour. So thank you for saying that, Jana. And yeah, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay, who else?
Hey, this is Lorraine, and I just want to say I love the training too. We had some of it the other day and then again today. And, sometimes just hearing things again helps, even though, you thought it was great the first time. It's like, oh yeah, what did I do from that? Which I actually did do some things from it the other day, but need to continue that as well. And I love that they both just said about the accountability. It's so important to be accountable to yourself and to be accountable to somebody else. And I know that the times that my business has surged is when I have said, I'm going to put myself in subjectivity, I guess, and be accountable. And it just does make such a difference. And, some of you, like Cleta said too, is like when you're bringing home a deposit, well, before when you were bringing it home from a party, but now when you're, letting that spouse be engaged in the process and allowing them to hold you accountable instead of getting aggravated when they try to hold you accountable, then that can make a difference to you too. If you're finding any resistance on that front, then that's, showing them the money makes a big, big impact.
Okay. I don't know who Phoenix is, but you need to mute. I keep trying to mute you. Okay. Who else would like to say something? And someone said about the layering sheet, and it's the one y'all all got. It's the team building one that says had a facial, been a hostess, tried the product. It's that layering sheet, like invited to an event, watched a video. But I'll give it to the directors again. Okay. Any other directors or consultants like to say anything?
Well, I will. I just want to affirm you. You did a great job tonight. And so thank you so much for sharing with all of us. And, I look forward to these Sunday night calls just to film me. So this is almost like my own accountability, I guess, right? And Sharon and I do our meetings together, and I know we have talked about how great your meetings are. So thank you for opening it up, first things first. But really and truly, I just wanted to affirm you. You did a great job tonight. And I think it's really funny that Jana and I wrote the same thing at the same time. So Jana and I are definitely on the same wavelength tonight.
That's right. Well, and I give all the credit to Jen Thetford. I really respect her. I think she's a fabulous trainer. She's very real. And, just to give you all a little bit of encouragement, she is, up there, Inner Circle National. She, her first 6 years as a sales director, she struggled with her unit under 30 people. The first 6 years as a sales director. And she even talked about how she saw the one of her cars just being towed away. And she said before they used to take them to the dealership, they just come to your house and put it on the tow truck. And so, she really thought, what could I do to improve my leadership and do better? She was already a sales director. And so it's funny how you can turn your business around by thinking some new thoughts, So, but thank you so much, Connie. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else, even director or consultant? If anybody else would like to say something before.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is Shannon, and I want to thank you because this was like bringing it back home and giving you a fresh start. And so where I really got stuck is vision is something I'm willing to rearrange my life for. And so if you're not willing to inconvenience yourself, if you're not willing to make some adjustments so you can accomplish that goal, well, then you're going to get what you put in it. And if you don't if you don't make that change, you don't get it. So I attended a homecoming weekend this weekend with National Mia, and this was the icing on the cake from her homecoming this weekend, as well as this. So I thank you, because sometimes we need a reboot, and that's what this felt like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon. And I know you're a leader already, so sometimes it's just a little tweak, so I'm so glad you're on here tonight. Who else would like to share? Anybody else? Okay, let me glance over here on YouTube for a second and see if I got anything going on in the chat over here. We got several people. Okay, all right. Good. All right, so they're fine with everybody coming earlier next week. So hey, just think about these questions this week. It's really one of those things you have to ask yourself. And I think anytime you want to move up to that next level, maybe read them again and go. And so let's say I want to become a national sales director. So I would look through my questions and say, am I willing to be inconvenienced to be a national sales director? Am I ready to be more accountable with my paperwork and my word to be a national sales director? Am I willing to in this season of my life, work my business consistently to be a national sales director? And it go on with every one of them, And so we were doing that for that national suit, Cheryl Warfield's national suit at our fall advance. And, one of my consultants was trying to outbid me too. And she's like, how bad do you want to be a national sales director? I'm like, all right, 200, and so anyway, it's funny because I'm thinking, when am I going to wear that beautiful, beautiful jacket? And my nephew is getting married in about 3 weeks. And I thought, it's in December. I thought, I'm going to wear it to the wedding. That's what I'm going to do, with a cute black skirt or a black dress underneath it. I think it'll be beautiful. So, and then it'll be in the family pictures forever. Anyway, well, you guys have a great week. Don't forget about Tuesday. And if you did not do your preferred customer program, or hey, and if you were a star consultant in the quarter that ended September the 15th, if you were a star, then you can order. Even if you didn't do preferred customer program, you can order on the 10th. Otherwise, everybody can order on next Sunday, the next Boss Babe call. Okay. And don't forget about Black Friday and, Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday. Mary Kay is calling it Pink Weekend. Get yourself a little plan of what you're going to do. And let me just encourage all of you consultants, do not just put your whole inventory at half off. You don't have to do that, you guys. You still want to make some profit, So I've seen people do that. I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm saying you don't have to give your product away. You could do some specials on it. So just think about it. Talk to your sales director, come up with a plan on that. And, we want you to also make an income during the weekend too, not just decrease your inventory, right? So, okay, you guys have a great week.